What's going on, everybody? This is Anthony Fallon, Tone Setter Sports Channel. Let's go. Yeah, sorry, I just got finished eating my salad and stuff, man. I want to talk about today. Let's talk about the Cleveland Browns. And this is just a little thing that my little hobby, my little thing that when it comes to sports and to football, I like taking that underdog team, the sorriest team, some of the low end teams, and see how I can build them up. You know, I do that with my Madden and stuff, or my 2K or something like that. I like to just build up the franchise and making them a dominant team. But this also plays into real life. With particular teams. Now, by no means I'm not a Cleveland fan, but this is just me being a football fan in general. And matter of fact, the Cleveland Browns are just a few players away of at least being competitive, because last year, and you go the year before that too, the team plays hard, man. And they was out of the 16 games, they had a chance to win at least 10 of them, and they just didn't finish when it came in the clutch. When it came to win, either they lost by a touchdown with the ball in their hands in the fourth quarter, or a field goal, with the ball in their possession, certain things like that. And we know that they had a rookie quarterback in Deshaun Kaiser, and he threw like 22 interceptions. He was just a interception machine. He just like threw away picks. I mean, he pretty much threw the ball in defenders' hands, and he was a rookie, but he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready for that. And being on a team that really need strong quarterback play, because let's take it back to 2016 when they had Cody Kessler playing, and you had Terrell Pryor and Corey Coleman, but Corey Coleman continuously stays hurt, and he's a wonderful talent, because he make those spectacular catches and stuff like that. He can put up numbers when he was on the field, but injury plague. That was 2016, and that was this past season where he missed a lot of time as well. And in 2016, you had Terrell Pryor had his breakout year at the same time with the subpar quarterback, and Cody Kessler was doing all right, but he got I think he got benched like towards the end of the 2016 season or something like that. They was swapping out the quarterbacks and stuff. Okay, and so they beginning of last season, they drafted Deshaun Kaiser, and he instantly became the starter, and he went through his woes, and to the point where he got benched and got back on, and I think they benched him again, and then they put him back on just to teach him a lesson, just to kind of get him under wraps, but he kept him but somehow he kept them in some of these games, not all of them, but for a majority of these games, they was, like I said, they was on the verge. They could have won, put it like that. They could have won 10 of these games. You go back and look for yourself and look at some of those close losses. So they are right there on the cusp of at least being seriously competitive, because I'm looking at my as I stated, this is one of my hobbies. 10 years plus running is going through my draft book and putting teams together and prospects that I like that should be drafted, especially for my Cowboys. But today I'm just going as an NFL fan, football fan, period. Now I'm gonna take a look at this. Their stats from 2017. I'm gonna go with why, maybe one of the reasons why they were in games majority of the time. Their defense is ranked 14th. That's middle of the pack. True. Okay, but they were 7th in rushing defense. They didn't even allow over 100-yard rusher. It was at 97.9%. 97.9 yards on defensive rushing. and they was 19th in passing. Giving up about 230 yards for the season. So 230 is not that bad, and 97.9 yards in defensive rushing is not that bad as well. So that's one of the reasons why, probably the most reason why they were in games with that. But they didn't have. But we need to check. I mean, they don't have the turnover stats and stuff like that. So I don't think there was a high turnover team as well. They didn't get a lot of interceptions and forced fumbles and stuff like that. Now the offensive side is where they do need to work, because they was in the middle of the pack in rushing, averaging about 107 yards per carry. Season wide throughout the season, and 201 as far as passing go. So and they was 22nd in that in passing, and 18th in rushing, and 24th overall. So that doesn't matter. Their stat, it does at the same time, it does, but you can have those numbers, but if you put no points, is where it's at, and that's the problem, that they never put up enough points, because that's why they fell short in most of the games, because the defense was on the field too much, and they've been having a pretty quality, a hard playing defense for the last few years. If anybody ever watched the Cleveland Browns, that defense can really be like that if their offensive side could just keep the ball and put up points. And their rushing attack wasn't that bad either. I think they need to shore up their offensive line a little bit, because we just now know that Joe Thomas he just retired. So they're gonna definitely need a left tackle, and they also need better quarterback play. Now, the reason why I'm talking about them is because of that right there. Now we got the Rosens, the Donalds, the Allens, the Mayfield, and the Jacksons. But then you got Louis Letter from out of Richmond, and I can't forget. I forget the guy name out of UVA. So really, those are like the top 7 to 8 quarterbacks, and they're solid, and they all have holes in their game. They all could be refined, can tweak, can work on their mechanics, and some a little bit more polished than others. But the ones that are polished still have some little holes in their game as well. When we talk about the Rosens and the Mayfields and stuff like that, some have bigger arms and more of their prototype, whatever. But the thing is, I hate the fact that this media has been hyping up these quarterbacks, and they are, and that's how it became such. This is another way of making it a quarterback dominant league. I'm not saying it is, because they have made everything easier for quarterbacks. What I'm saying? The tuck rule, and can't hit below the knees, and then the ball got to be going for, your arm going forward. That tells you if it was a fumble or an incomplete pass, and everything. The 5 rule, the you can't bump after 5 yards and stuff, so the wide receivers can get off the block. Because defenses are far more advanced, even though the defense is simple. For the most part, you have your blitz zones, your blitz schemes, your zone blitz schemes and stuff like that. That's confusing the hell out of quarterbacks, especially rookie quarterbacks and stuff like that. But the defense always tend to be more advanced than the offense, or they get it going faster than the offense. Put it like that. So they had to do that in order to give the offensive side of the ball a slight competitive advantage, but it also made it easier for quarterbacks to go through their reads and progressions, and that's why they can put up these numbers. You know what I'm saying? So, let's get back to this. So everybody's saying, Donald or Rosen is gonna be like the first 2 picks first, and Mayfield or Allen, they might be the first four to go in the first four draft. The first four picks, or at least in the top 10 as far as draft picks go. But Browns they just traded for Buffalo quarterback, Virginia Tech guy, Tyrod Taylor. Okay, no, he's not the a top tier. He's probably like in the third class. He's a third tier quarterback that's just solid. You know what I'm saying? Solid veteran, savvy. Can make some plays, but just not. He just don't wow you or nothing like that. But if you drafted a quarterback last year to be your franchise quarterback, and then you bring in Tyrod Taylor, the veteran, so he's either they are going to set Kaiser and let him learn watching Taylor, and that's what I would do. I mean, because what's the point? Why you keep wasting draft picks on quarterbacks? You know what I'm saying? Why don't you build your team? Just build your team around the quarterback that you have. Build that offensive line up, get that defense, and put some more playmakers on defense, and stuff like that. You got your guns, you got your gunners, like I'm talking about your wide receivers. You got Josh Gordon. You just traded for Jarvis Landry, and you got Corey Coleman, and you got Njoku as your tight end. And then from what I was told, they also from what I saw, I think they also picked up Carlos Hyde as a running back in for the Browns too. So why do you need Saquon Barkley when Carlos Hyde is still in his prime? And he's a good back. I mean, he's pretty solid. He could put up some numbers as he did for the 49ers. So you got your receiving core. It's a pretty solid, especially if Josh Gordon come back and he got his head on straight, along with Landry and Corey Coleman. Awesome. That's a stud lineup right there. And then you got Njoku, busting down the seams and stuff like that, as a pass catching tight end. So what I think the Browns move is going to be. I don't think they're going to draft any of these quarterbacks in the first round. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't even think they're going to get Saquon Barkley, because that's just wasted draft picks if you already got a running back in his prime. And as far as their running back go, they got Isaiah Crowell, but I think he signed with someone else, and he was just solid, because Crowell will put up 100 yards a game. You know what I'm saying? If that offensive line is holding up, man. No, he's not Ezekiel Elliott or nothing like that, but he was just a solid running back, So I don't think they have him, but they do have Duke Johnson out of Miami, but he's a smaller back, he's serviceable, put it like that. So if you got Carlos Hyde back there, and then you got Saquon Barkley, they might do like Minnesota, had Dalvin Cook and Latavius Murray, you know what I'm saying? So they still could draft a quarterback too. Look, I'm doing something right now. Would you leave me alone? I'm doing my video. So, excuse me. Sorry about that. So yeah. That's what I would do. It still doesn't mean they still might draft one of the top quarterbacks, in the draft, and they still might get Saquon Barkley. They got the first and they got the 4th round pick. I would trade it down and get more picks. And then you can kind of go from there, because you still got the 4th round pick or whatnot. And I might trade down from that too, since I got these pieces in place now. It all depends on what they're going to do with Kaiser, because like I said, why don't you give the guy a chance? If you saw something in him when you drafted him, and what was your expectations for him anyway? Was you expecting him to come out and just play? Because isn't quote unquote Hugh Jackson supposed to be like like a quarterback whisperer? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what that's his forte, right? That's his little thing that he has. He's this offensive guru, quarterback friendly guru and stuff. So I have to kind of put that on him too. Well, he's supposed to have more say in this coming draft too, because last year or 2016 season, I don't think he had much say in who was going to be drafted and stuff like that. But I think he's gonna voice his opinion in who he wants, since he's the one that's gonna go down with the ship if they decide to let him go. So why not let him choose his players, choose his quarterback as well? So, so if they do, I just think that's another wasted draft pick if they go ahead and get another quarterback and they got just a guy that's just ended his first season. So I would rather think, instead of them getting the Mayfields and all the first four that's on the Mayock, I'm about to do the quote unquote, that's on Mayock's and Kuiper's mock draft board. I would say Lamar Jackson would probably be their quarterback now. If you watch my previous one, I didn't have the Cleveland Browns on as one of Lamar Jackson's landing spots, but since they traded for Tyrod Taylor, and maybe he's not the great talent, the Brady or the Breeze and stuff like that I would prefer Lamar Jackson to be behind. But nevertheless, he is a professional, and he just gets it done. And that might be someone that he could just sit behind, and watch him and Kaiser, if they was to go that route. But I'm not saying they're gonna pick Lamar Jackson first or fourth. But I think he is the most, as Mel Kiper say, the most polarizing, the most electric quarterback in the draft. He's the one that has the potential to be the biggest threat. Why? Because he's a quarterback that can run very well. But he's a pass first, run second quarterback. But you can run option plays for him too, and he can make it happen like that. But I wouldn't do that, not in the NFL, unless it's absolutely called for. I mean, it's needed. Like they run Dak a little bit. And Cowboys is Lamar Jackson's favorite team too, but I don't see Garrett them. They not gonna coach him up, man. I don't know. They wouldn't know what to do with a specimen like that. I only know if Hugh Jackson know what to do with a specimen like that. That's why I prefer him to go to New England. That's what New England or the Saints to be the backup. And if one of these teams just might pick him up early, I was just projecting that he might slide to the late second, third, between the late second and fourth round, where New England or Saints could pick him up. Saying they'll at least have the opportunity, so he can study behind two of the great quarterbacks in this league. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, I mean that's where I. With that being said, let's recap. Let's recap what they claiming they need quarterback, left tackle, and cornerbacks. So I would just go ahead. If I was them, I would go ahead and go defensive. That's what I think they're gonna do. I think they're gonna go defensive. They're gonna get their quarterback. They're gonna get their cornerback, and they're gonna get another defensive pass rusher like Chubb or someone like that. He's in like the top 3 overall, and I think that's what they're gonna. They're not looking at just the top 5 quarterbacks. They're looking at who's the best players. Who are the best players overall in the draft, regardless of position? And I don't think those quarterbacks even fall in the top 10, to be honest with you. Besides Lamar Jackson. The other quarterbacks are just solid. I mean, shit. they had a slew of quarterbacks last year, to go. Watson, Trubisky, and I forgot who else went up in the tops of yeah, Kaiser, Mahomes. They went in the first round and stuff like that. So there's quarterbacks. There's gonna be quarterbacks that's gonna be another top five next season. You know, of quarterbacks from big schools to small schools. So quarterbacks are always gonna be there, but they are the biggest bust. So that's why they don't get those top end contracts anymore. They get a rookie they get a base rookie salary because you can't put that much money into a rookie quarterback. So that's why you keep Kaiser. You bring in Taylor, keep Kaiser, let him study for a year, or a year or two, then let once Kaiser get his skills up to par, his mechanics down, and reading defenses, pocket awareness, all that stuff that requires you to be a good quarterback. With that young talent that Cleveland has, they're gonna be on. Trust, they are not far away. When you just look at the defensive stats, they're just in the middle of the pack, so they just can't get worse on the defensive end. They just got to get better on the defensive end, but definitely improve on the offensive end, because you can allow that if that defense can get the opposing team offense off the field, and that as long as that offense come up 10 spots, they 24th overall, but they move up to 14, while the defense move up, to in the top 10 in defense, and they can put them points on the board. That's all it takes. They're only a few players away. Just build that defense up. Hopefully, maybe you have your quarterback, maybe you don't. You got Carlos Hyde, you got Landry, so maybe you do get a running back, maybe you don't. But I just think it's stupid that y'all even waste your draft pick on a running back or a quarterback. Just pick the top players, regardless of position. So this is Anthony Fallon, y'all. Tone Setter Sports. I'm out. Peace.